Hello and welcome to the final round of the FIA European Drag Racing Championship here in a very sunny SantaPod.
Oh, it's been wonderful. We also got the final round for the UM drag bikes as well. This is the exciting part of the season. This is a real business end where we get to hand out those big trophies at the end of the weekend, and there are so many tight points battles going into today's racing.
And thousands of people that have come out to enjoy the spectacle, so let's head straight to the action.
So here we go then with FIA Top Fuel Dragster. Number one qualifier back with a vengeance was Thomas Nators from Norway. Okay, the first round race you're going to see today is going to be a biggie. The crowd is huge this weekend at SantaPod Raceway. Weather perfect for drag racing. That is Chris Andrews, the only representative from the UK in the Lucas Oil Top Fuel Dragster. Had a great time in qualifying. And he's up against the man who would be king this year. Risto Puutiainen from Finland in the points lead. Needs to win this round. And he does so in style. Big hole shot off the start line. 4.05. Chris Andrews with a lose out, 4.37, but still had a great weekend. Risto's championship hopes are still alive. It all depends now on what Jari Halonen does later on in the day. Crew really happy indeed. And the crew for Chris Andrews, even though he got left on the line that time, must be so happy. Chris is with Abby.
But things from this point onwards look really promising going into 2013. I mean, it's a great way to end your championship, things coming together so well.
Yeah. Well, we're in a perfect situation. All this year we've been testing, trying to develop the car, trying to learn what the car wants in terms of performance. We've done that now. We've got a good benchmark for next year. We've still got 3 complete engines in the trailer. We've got more coming next year, more parts that we're going to be purchasing. So we're going to come out next year and we're going to be strong.
And have your sponsors enjoyed their experience this weekend?
I hope so. Yeah, they've been up on the hospitality with us there. They seem to be cheering every time I go by. And they're all smiles every time I go down there. So that's always a good sign.
Yeah, very good sign for the future as well indeed. But main thing about that race, Risto was through. Now Jari Halonen has to win later on in round 1 today. Your next pair, that man right there is Stig Neergaard from Denmark. Had a couple of boomers in qualifying. Anita Merkeler, real great job for her. Qualified number 2 down in the low 4.0s over the 1,000-foot distance here at SantaPod, as it is all season. And Stig started well at SantaPod earlier in the season, got to the final, but this is a side-by-side round 1 race and another huge explosion for Stig Neergaard. Anita Merkeler was lucky to get away with that one. Tyre shake, tyre spin. She pedalled the car, which means on and off the throttle, but she got it down. The rescue crews actually hosing down Stig before he even stops, but that was another biggie for Stig Neergaard, unfortunately. But Anita Merkeler moves on through into the semi-finals, and Abby caught up with her in the pits.
We have found the power back into the car. We have lost some time in 60-foot times, and when we get that thing sorted, I think the car is gonna fly again.
So Anita, where does this put you in terms of the overall championship?
Well, I'm number 3 at the very moment. I can't get any higher, but I can get lower. So I'm happy if I'll be finishing the season on number 3. The season hasn't been so good, but there again, this race is giving a lot of hope for next season again.
Well, the crowd basking in the sunlight and Anita basking in the glory of another round win. She's really neck and neck with Antti Horto, and this is Antti. Now, he's got to a couple of finals this season. He's up against Jari Halonen in his first round race, and this is all important. If Antti wants to be number 3 in the championship, he's got to win. And if Jari Halonen wants to win the championship, he's got to win and keep on winning to keep Risto Puutiainen out of the equation. But if he loses, it's Risto that's the champ. They're both the way dead even. Looks like Jari's actually in front, but the win light comes on in Antti Horto's lane. What a race that was. Only a couple of hundredths of a second between them at the finish line. There you go, as they go past those big orange markers which denote the finish line for 1,000-foot racing. That was a fantastic race, and Antti Horto moves through to the semi-finals. That means that Risto Puutiainen is your champ for this year. He goes up against Thomas Nators, who had a bye in round 1. Anita Merkeler gets Antti Horto. Okay, the first semi-final race here at SantaPod Raceway. That man there, Thomas Nators, #1 qualifier with the Andersons kart. So great to see them back on the European Tour. They've come here with one intention, to go fast and win. Those boys really know how to do it, but they got a tough task. The newly crowned European champion in the multilotto.com Top Fuel Dragster for Finland. Tuned by Runefjeld, and it's Risto with a drop off the start line. What a fantastic side-by-side race. It's Risto on a hole shot. Watch that again in replay. That was so close. Thomas was actually ahead. Just spun the tyres through the finish line. And the crew, no, look at that. They're European champions and they're also into the final. Once again, Runefjeld even cracks a smile. That was a hell of a drag race. The crowd absolutely loving that one. So, who will Risto be up against in the final? It's going to be one of these two, Antti Horto. Right here with the O-Box Top Fuel Dragster. This is another Runefjeld car. Up against Anita Merkila, the chicken farmers from up there in Finland. Having a much better weekend here at SantaPod. Another great side-by-side race. What a run. Anita, 4:03, 293 miles an hour. Just watch that from the other angle. Yeah, it was actually nearly a couple of car lengths at the finish line, surprisingly, but Anita, very strong this weekend. And she's into the final against Risto Puutiainen. What a race that's going to be. So, we're coming to the close of the day here for Top Fuel Dragster. Risto has won the championship. He can just get on with enjoying that and enjoying his racing. Anita Merkila, her first final in an awful long while in this car. And even though there's two cars there on the line, Risto was shut off before he actually got into stage with a problem with the engine. A bit of an anticlimactic final, to say the least. Anita launches hard but shakes the tyres and just cruises through at 70 miles an hour. Yeah, you can see the car just rise up there. That's tyre shake when the clutch and the racetrack and everything else aren't quite in sync with each other. But for her first event win for I can't remember how long. That team so deserve it. Risto goes home with the championship. He's not exactly hard done by, but it is Anita and her team that get the event win.
Okay, I think I'm going to know the reaction of one very happy lady. Congratulations, you're getting dressed, and what a round to win.
Well, it wasn't the way I wanted to win this round. I got a severe tire shake because I thought that, okay, if Risto doesn't show up, I'm going to show you just one of her nice passes.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do that, but next time. Well, and it has been an amazing weekend. What a weather, what a track. Thank you, SantaPod. It's great to be here. I'm always saying like I'm at home.
I think we're going to have a happy husband. Go on.
That's Anita's husband, Tommy Happinen. A pretty good Top Fuel driver in his own right, actually. Risto finishes #1, Jari 2, and Anita at 3. Okay, our next class is going to be Pro Stock Championship to be wrapped up today as well between Thomas Lindström and Jimmy Orland. Now, Thomas qualified #1 here for this weekend's event. And in round #1, he was due to be racing against Conrad Stanley from the UK. Unfortunately, after so much hard work, Conrad was unable to make the call for round 1. Thomas Lindström had a bye run, and with this run, amassed enough points to wrap up the championship. 6.68, 205 miles an hour from the young man from Sweden for Enerud Cars. After all the hard work, he won the main event. He won the first race at Tierp in Sweden. He's had such a great year. It's unbelievable. This has been his dream ever since he was a boy. He's now only in his 20s, to be honest with you, but him and the whole Mopar team have taken it all. And he's one very happy guy.
Yeah, it's been a trip up and down. In Finland it was all down, and then we made it come back after Hockenheim, and in Tierp we come back, and here we are again, and now,
there's something about your belief system, and I think that is portrayed by the fact these t-shirts had already been printed out. It was just really, you just had to do it.
Yeah, and this round was our first single round by run ever, and in elimination, and the pressure on that round was really, really big. Other times you think, oh, Jimmy is another lane, we need to take him, and at reaction time we need to make a good run, a clean run. This time was only in my mind, what happened if the engine doesn't go?
Which has happened to him before, folks, so that really was a genuine concern. But anyway, most importantly, he's the new European champ. The man he's just enthroned in the near lane, Jimmy Orland, up against Ulf Varghester, and that round one contest. And it's Jimmy, 6.69. This is why Pro Stock Racing is so close. Thomas just went through the 68. Jimmy just runs 6.69. Dead even away from the start line, almost identical at 60 foot, which normally spells bad news for the opposition when Jimmy's in the other lane. And he will be through into the semi-finals, but not as returning champion. So, battle of the Mickeys this time round. Mickey Colleen with the blue Pontiac GTO this time gets a drop on the start line off of Michael Malmgren in the far lane, and it will be Michael Colleen got to the final and set the speed record here earlier in the year. Goes to the semis with a 6.82. Little on-board camera not liking that too much, to be honest with you, but it was good to see the view anyway. All Sweden in the semis. Thomas Lindström with a nullabye due to the odd lot field, and Jimmy Orland takes on Michael Colleen. Okay, so the first of those semi-finals is another bye run for Thomas Lindström. He's definitely got luck on his side today. Goes 6.72, slightly off pace from earlier in the day, but that's because the sun's out. Everything's heating up, and more heat in the racetrack and in the air means slightly slower elapsed times for pro stockers. Now on the other side of the ladder, you can see them with their team shirts and everything as well. Mickey Colleen and Jimmy Orland, but Mickey goes red on the tree, too quick on the line. I think Jimmy just about caught him anyway. Jimmy goes 6.70, 205 miles an hour. And in replay, you can see Michael Colleen with a cherry on the tree. And he was out in front. I'm not entirely sure whether he crossed the finish line first, but it didn't matter at all. Oh, he did slightly, but it was an ill-gotten gain. He went too soon. It is Jimmy Orland, outgoing champ, against Thomas Lindström, new champ in the final. We couldn't write this stuff, you know. It's so close all the time. Away they go in this final round, absolutely neck and neck all the way down. It's Jimmy taking the win. You see from the other angle, Jimmy's just in front, all the way down, half a car length at the finish line. Thomas Lindström really wanted to go out on a high, but 6.69 beats a 6.71. Jimmy was slightly quicker on the tree, and he's going to be one happy guy again.
Yes! Yes! Oh, I'm so happy.
Talk me through it. That was close, wasn't it?
It was, and I mean, to put this new Camaro in the winner's circle that Jerry Haas built for us, that's awesome in the last race. We've been struggling in the beginning. Yes, I'm so happy. This is the beginning of the next year, I tell you that.
Well, Jimmy and Thomas embracing each other. A worthy new champion, that young man. On top of the points, Jimmy Orland second. Michael Colleen, though, finished with a flourish in third place. Right, from manufacturer's class on 4 to 2 wheels. Pro Stock Bike, again, another championship to be settled here this afternoon. And in the UEM Championship, it's been very, very close all season. And there's barely any points between Fredrik Friedland and Ulf Erger. This is Fredrik Friedland. He needs to win and keep winning, which is exactly the same as what Ulf Erger does. He's up against Kev Charman in round one. Kev putting up a good fight, but, well, nothing doing, unfortunately, on the top end. Fredrik Friedland, 7.15. Easily outdistances a 7.86. Good try, though, from Kev Charman. Fredrik was #1 qualifier with a 7.10. He's also European record holder. That was set at Tierp Arena earlier in the year. And here's Vadek team boss, Roger Lyron.
Because there's something about sunshine that just lifts people's spirits, particularly in drag racing when you can be so badly affected by the rain.
Rain is our worst enemy. And we've been fighting this so many years, and actually the last years the weather's been really up and down.
How does the heat affect the track?
The heat, of course, it affects it because it's really easy. It starts a little bit greasy, so it's really tricky to find the right tuning, and it's changing a lot.
Well, Pro Stock bikes have, what's the word I'm looking for? Engineered horsepower instead of manufactured. They can't add more blow or anything. In the far lane, that's Elvira Carlson, one of the team bikes for Vadek. Went red on the tree. Her 764, no good. Yeah, you can see the crew guy hang his head in shame, unfortunately. She was up against Gert-Jan Lesueur from the Netherlands, down into the 7.2s now on a regular basis. All the hard work him and the team have been paying off. Went 7.28 that time to move through into the semi-finals. Okay. Next race for the Pro Stockers in round one, a crucial matchup for this man right here. Ulf Erger, right-hand side of your screen there from Sweden. Lenny Paget from the UK on the left-hand side gets the drop on Ulf off the start line, but I think Ulf has, just pegged him back at the finish line. Down in the 7.2s for Ulf, 7.27. Len was actually ahead for quite a bit of that run. But when it mattered, the big Buell from Sweden won out. So the championship battle continues. And another man right here, this is Kalle Loren with an outside shot at the title. He's number 3 in the points at the moment. There he is warming the tyre. A broken engine in testing. They just took everything they had out the trailer and made one hopefully decent engine out of all of that. Here he is in round one against Martin Bishop. That's Martin in the far lane. That's a really close race. The winner is Kalle Loren by that much. Wow, the 100th of a second advantage off the line for the Vadek bike was the difference at the finish line. They both went 7.40. And even a partially missed shift by Kalle in the middle of that one didn't slow him up too much. And we're going to see that from the finish line shot now, just how close that was between these two. Well, you almost can't tell, to be honest with you, but we can tell it was the green bike. It was Kalle Loren. He goes against Ulf Erger. On the other side of the ladder, Fredrik Friedland needs to beat Gert-Jan Lesueur to keep his hopes alive. So our first semi-final for Pro Stock Bike. Again, this is so nail-biting. This is a culmination of travelling all around Europe. All the money, the travelling, the hard work comes down to what you do this afternoon here at SantaPod in September. This is Fredrik Friedland. That is Gert-Jan Lesueur. Gert-Jan just making himself comfortable on the bike, but not comfortable enough. Gert-Jan gets a red on the tree, goes before the green light comes on. One half of our dream final is there. Fredrik Friedland's 7.10 low ET of the weekend. Yeah, Gert-Jan went red. I think he saw it and clicked the bike off to save any possible engine damage. 185 miles an hour as well for Fredrik. And a fairly straight run as well. That makes a nice change. One thing I always explain to people about drag racing is hardly anything ever goes in a straight line. It's supposed to, but it almost always doesn't. When you're trying to put that much horsepower through a little skinny tyre, it almost never does. So Fredrik's in the final. Ulf Erger was due to be racing Kalle Loren, but Kalle unfortunately didn't make the call for this round, broke the engine in that first round race. We are going to get that final we all want. Ulf Erger against Fredrik Friedland for all the marbles, all the money, and for the big UEM trophy in Pro Stock Bike. He's a little off the pace though, 7.26. Fredrik went 7.10. This bike, though, did go 7.1 in testing without any problem at all. Let's hope the team can find it for that all-important final round match coming up. And confirmation of that, there you go. They both worked their way through each side of the ladder. Fredrik and Ulf for the title. So a huge crowd has stayed on all day and entertained themselves quite as well. We had a world record set for a quarter-mile Mexican wave this weekend. Your final then, Ulf Erger, far lane, Fredrik Friedland in the near lane. Looks like Fredrik's got a bike length on Ulf, almost all the way down the track. Winner, new European Pro Stock Bike champ from Åland, Fredrik Friedland. Unfortunately for Ulf Erger, couldn't find the power. The bike's been lacking almost all weekend. And for PAF, for Orland, for Fredrik Friedland and the whole team, they could not be happier. A whole summer's worth of travelling, and they've done it. They're the champs.
He came round the corner thumping the air, so it's great news for Fredrik Friedland. First of all, huge congratulations.
Thank you.
I could see that. I could see that meant a lot to you.
It meant a lot to me and my team and my sponsors and all the struggling this year. I'm stunned.
Because it is an amazing end to what has been quite a challenging year for you.
Yeah, we've been struggling in the beginning of the year, and then things turn around, and we have been the performance that go upwards and upwards, and I'm so happy. And thanks again to my sponsors and my hard-working team.
Fredrik, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, to say he's happy is an understatement. He takes the title by that much over Ulf Erger at number 2. Kalle Ren consolidated his 3rd place. Well, for once, a class has wrapped up the champion for the day. Down there at the bottom of the ladder, Nate Gagnon, just by qualifying, is your new Super Twin champ for 2012. But we got a lot of racing to do here today. There's championship trophies and also event trophies and positions in the title race to be decided as well. In the near lane, Job Hazen from the Netherlands was our number 1 qualifier, down in the mid-6s. A labouring 7.19 at 163 only that time. But he gets a place in the semi-finals, most important. He was up against Roman Sixter from the Czech Republic. Roman with not a great run at all. Next out, Hans-Olaf Ostad and Christian Jaeger. Christian was the winner at Hockenheim, his home race, just about a month ago in Germany. Hans-Olaf with that beautiful new parallel Super Twin. But Christian Jaeger, no mistakes at all. Tyre spin for Hans-Olaf Ostad. And that's his day done, unfortunately. From another angle, you can see Hans-Olaf. Tyre spin, just too much horsepower trying to be applied to the racetrack. The bike has huge potential, though, as you can see from the 213 mile an hour speed. Christian Jaeger was under 200 miles an hour at the finish line this time round. And most importantly for Christian, he's trying to get right up there in the championship race and finish in number 3. We'll find out if he can do it as eliminations wear on. This is Samu Kampanen, currently number 2 in the championship. Teammate to your new champion, Nate Gagnon. He's up against Martin de Haas. Now, Martin was in as an alternate. And Martin, well, that wasn't a freebie. Samu did take the green, but unfortunately the bike went bang. Martin de Haas, with his lucky rabbit's foot once again, gets the round win, but a big engine bang. So I doubt if he's going to be making the semis. Yep, Samu's bike, as soon as he cracked the throttle, just didn't go anywhere. And Martin de Haas's bike hurting itself all the way down. He gets the win light, but there's a good chance there won't be too much of that engine left to come back for the semis. Samu's bike stopped on the line. Well, that may affect his chances of finishing number 2 in the championship. He has had a great year. He was a Nordic Super Twin champion. But we'll see how it works out. So, Trond Berget from Norway takes on the first to take on the newly crowned champ, Nate Gagnon from Canada. Well, Nate's bike with all kinds of problems. No trouble at all for Trond Berget. He goes through with a 7.27. He was down in the 6s in qualifying. Nate Gagnon, not the way he wanted to close out his championship year. Cruising through the top end. Yeah, mechanical problems bit the guy from Canada, but it's been so great to have him here for the whole season. He's been such an asset to the class. We really hope he can come back next year. So, Job Hazen, Christian Jaeger, Martin de Haas against Trond Berget. So, Germany in the form of Christian Jaeger. The bike now getting very, very consistent indeed. Now, actually, I'm saying that bizarrely. After he won in Hockenheim, went to Chirp Arena and didn't qualify, would you believe, in a real tough field of bikes up there. But he's in the semis against Job Hazen. Job Hazen with the supercharged Super Twin of the Pels family from the Netherlands. Well, the bike labouring off the line once again. Christian Jaeger, no mistake whatsoever. Down in the 6s again, 6.90. Job Hazen loses out with a low 7. He went 6.61 to qualify number 1. Big shock for the Zodiac bike. not running quite the numbers they were in qualifying. But you can see Christian Jaeger, where does that front wheel come down? Great riding from the guy from Germany. And he will be one half of our final. And on the other side of the ladder, it was due to be Trondheberg up against Martin de Haas. And as we saw, that big engine bang from Martin de Haas, that was the end of his weekend. Trondheberg gets a solo run, a bye run, if you will, into the final. The team obviously decided to try and step it up. And unfortunately, a little bit too much weight in the clutch, and he spun the tyre as the second that he cracked the throttle on the start line. So he goes into the final against Christian Jaeger, but as a definite underdog at the moment after that run. So for Germany, Christian Jaeger gets on the DeWalt machine one more time to try and take his second win of the summer. Like I said, home race win in Hockenheim. Trondheberg from Norway, never been to a final in UEM Super Twin Bike. He's not going to win this one. Spins the tyre on the start line. Christian Jaeger with a great run. Look at that, 6:57. Low elapsed time of the weekend. Still quite low on the speed, only 200 miles an hour, but I don't think they could care less, to be honest with you, looking at him. And what a way to close out the year for Christian Jaeger. You can see Trondheberg's bike just spins the tyre as soon as he hits the throttle. No such problem for Christian Jaeger. Nice and smooth down the Auto Glim lane here at SantaPod Raceway. Flying the front wheel, he's going to be one happy guy.
What a race to finish off here at the European Finals at SantaPod.
Yeah, it's amazing. I couldn't have found the right word for this, but yeah, for me it's a dream to win my second year, to own this good position and win 2 events this year. It's very nice.
I know I'm putting you on the spot because it is difficult to find the words at this moment, but talk us through that run.
Yeah, it was a hard run, a little bit struggling after 200 meters, but I can handle this, and yeah, we win this.
And in front of these crowds as well, what a great way to win.
Yeah, and it's also a great win for my team. They worked so hard this year and make a very, very good job.
Christian wasn't too bad himself. He gets second in the championship to Nate Gagnon. Join us again after the break for the rest of the action. Well, welcome back to part 2. This is your lineup for the quarterfinals of FIA Pro Mod. The championship just about decided, but we'll get to that in a moment. So, great race day crowd at SantaPod Raceway here to watch. Mickey Gallquist, your defending champion, and I think by winning this race he can win the title up against Norbert Kuno. Norbert with a brand spanking new car for this year. Norbert goes red on the tree. Mickey Gallquist had a horrible time in qualifying. It wasn't until absolutely, well, it's not even the last minute. It wasn't even until round 1. You can see on board the car absolutely all over the place. Mickey never lifting. Yeah, Norbert with a red light, tyre shake all over the place. Mickey really was there for the taking, actually, that time round. But he goes through into the semi-finals. I think just about wraps up the championship. Now, David Vegter was due to be up against Graham Ellis. Unfortunately, Graham with a big turbo Superbird broke in round 1. David gets a freebie into the semi-finals. 6:56. He can go quicker than that, though.
Some drivers seem to go particularly well on certain tracks, and David, it would seem that SantaPod is your track.
Absolutely. I love SantaPod. Personal best again, so yeah, I'm happy.
Because last time at the start of the season when we're here, you were number 1 qualifier, you're number 2 at the moment. Yeah. The sun is shining, what's going on?
I don't know. I don't know, we're blessed here. We're gonna hopefully improve now, so yeah, I'm happy.
Well, David is in the semis. Who will he be racing? It's going to be one of these two absolutely beautiful 63 split window Corvettes. The lucky devil himself, Wayne Nicholson, from Yorkshire in the UK. First time Wayne's ever been this far in competition, I think. Up against Bruno Barda, champion-elect. I think Mickey Gallquist, though, has just tied that up. Great race between the two of them, but it's Bruno, 6.18, 2.27. Nice try from Wayne Nicholson, though, back in the mid-60s with a 6.69. I think the speed denotes he shut off a little bit early. There's a lot more to come out of that car. The team do try very, very hard indeed. It is great to see him in the in the second round, not the semi-finals. But Bruno marches on with another 6-1. Consistency really is his middle name. He did have an outside shot at the title at the start of the day, but I think that's now gone to the way of Mickey Gallquist. So Roger Moore will be racing Michael Gallquist in the semi-finals, and David Vegter goes against Bruno Barda. So Mickey G coming round. He's going to keep the #1 on the car for next year, up against Roger Moore. Two guys from the UK in the semi-finals. That's not bad going whatsoever. He's in a Dodge Viper, sponsored by Challenger in the far lane. The nitrous combination, him and his brother Dave doing great things with that car. Just not quite as good as Mickey Gallquist. Still all over the place for Mickey. Almost there for the taking again with a 6.50, but it's win lights that count. Yeah, you can see Mickey's car leaves quite a bit harder than Roger. And it is the win light going to the Camaro from Sweden. Yeah, sadly the Moore boys didn't have quite enough in the tank that time round to get past the new and defending champ as well. So the next race, Bruno Barda, right there from Switzerland. He's going to keep that PM #2 on the screen, I think, for next year. Up against a man whose number's going to drop significantly. That's David Vegter. PM67 will probably become PM6 if my guess is right at the end of the season. But great side-by-side race away together, almost glued together all the way down the racetrack. It's David. The MPM team celebrate. Look at that, 6.17 to 6.21. What a great, great side-by-side race. He won that only just at the finish line. I was going to say the crowd and definitely the crew go wild. That's his crew chief, Dick Costa, about as happy as a man can be, I think. David doing a great, great job of driving on time on the start line. Dead even with Bruno, almost all the way down until the most important point, right at the finish line. And he's in the final. You can see them absolutely neck and neck at half track by just that much. It was David getting a win light. He will take on your new champ in the final, Mickey Gallquist. What a race that's going to be. Okay, so Mickey G in the right-hand lane. Once again, his crew being very careful to put him exactly where he needs to be. David in his favoured left-hand lane again. Oh, David with big tyre shake has to pedal the car. Mickey Gallquist all over the place, but still keeps his foot down and goes 6.15, 230 miles an hour. David sadly loses out with a 6.33. But what a day for the MPM team, and what a day for Mickey Gallquist and his whole team as well. Manages to wrap up another European Championship. Yeah, the reason the car would have run slightly quicker than that, but he had to do a little bit of correction on the way down. Here he is at the top end with Abby.
So, Mickey, you just won the European finals and you've also taken the championship. Huge congratulations.
Thank you. It was an amazing weekend, and what an ending of this weekend. It's been fantastic.
Especially when it didn't start off on such a good note.
No, it started off as a nightmare. We didn't go down the track in qualifying at all almost, and I had some sleepless... Here's the team coming. Whoa!
Here is a very happy team.
They worked so hard all day long and all weekend long, and so we're all just very happy right now.
Go and enjoy it with your team. Congratulations, guys.
Yay!
Well, the other half of that final that lost, still a very happy guy indeed, is David Vegter.
Someone who's He's had a brilliant weekend. As David Vector, SantaPod treats him really well. There's a bit of damage to the bodywork, which you'll explain, but so close. But the actual win wasn't meant to be yours this time.
No, you know, Gulquist did a really good job, and we're really happy to be in the finals anyway. So.
And what's happened to the car now? He's given you some work, hasn't he?
Yeah, he does every time. Yeah, he destroys more than with his right foot. The shorter the time gets. So.
Was it worth it?
It was definitely worth it. Yeah, I was catching up with him, but it wasn't enough. But yeah, it was worth it.
Yeah, just running out of racetrack at the finish line, David Venter. That's actually the tyre rubbing on the body from all the downfalls, that damage there. He did finish number 6 in the championship, but the big number 1 next year again will be worn by Mickey Gulquist. Well, we're into Top Fuel Bike. Your number 1 qualifier was Peter Svensson, and we're going to catch up with him right now just to see how the weather affects the track conditions and the racing here at SantaPod.
Hello, Peter. Now, this is a nice scene at the moment of all your guys just basking in sunlight. We're all loving the sunshine, but as a racer, what is the problem when it gets too hot?
Well, the sun is shining on the track all day like this. We got too high temperature in the track, and it gets a little slippery. It's a little greasy on the surface, so we can't put as much clutch as we would like to.
So you have to come off the powers?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, come off the power indeed. He went 5.72 to qualify number 1. The second quickest Top Fuel bike run in the world ever. And he goes 5.91 with an early shut-off 209 in round 1. Now, believe it or not, folks, that is turned down. That bike can go faster than that. And just to finish that little story, he also holds the quickest run as well at 5.70. Rickard Gustafsson, right-hand lane, up against Steve Carey. In the Alamo side of the racetrack there, it is Rickard Gustafsson with a 6.57 with the turbo funny bike. Leaves the Nitro Top Fuel bike for dead that time round. Great run for Rickard. It was a little bit rough at the top end, to be honest with you, when he came off the throttle, but the Swedish flags are waving this weekend at SantaPod. So the man who would be champ, this is Ian King. He lost out on the number 1 plate last year to Peter Svensson. He could tie it up here today with a win over Otto Kniebel. No mistake whatsoever. I was going to say no mistake, but that wobble about mid-track was huge for Ian King. Yeah, the amazing thing is as well, he just doesn't even think about it. He just lets it settle down and gets straight back on the power again. You're going to get a great view out of that, your right-hand side of your shot there. This is on board the back of Otto Kniebel's bike. I must admit that camera is pretty precariously positioned. If anything goes bang in the engine, it's going to catch all of it. Watch that wobble again. Yeah, that was quite a big one for Ian King. Comes off the power and on it again. 6.63, 171, but it's win lights that count. He will get a bye run into the semis because neither Steve Willett or René van der Berg made the call for round 1. Peter Svensson against Rickard Gustafsson. So the huge crowd still enjoying the sunshine and the racing as well. The racing has been fantastic. The weather's been fantastic. Been possibly one of the best events ever we've had here in the UK. These two, both from Sweden. Rickard Gustafsson at a disadvantage, obviously, but the funny bikes are more consistent. But when you've got the most consistent and quickest Top Fuel bike in the world in the other lane, Peter Svensson off the throttle way before the finish line. Still goes through, yeah, off about 1,000 foot, still cruises through to a 5.98. That's just incredible. 6.56 for Rickard at 2.05. That's his weekend and his season done. I can't believe I'm saying that. That bike just rolls through the finish line at about 200 miles an hour in 5 seconds and still not on the power all the way through. Ian King, a little bit of a rough ride for him just before half track. Takes the green light, takes the win light as well. Sets up a final between our numbers 1 and 2 qualifier. Peter Svensson and Ian King, your final matchup in Top Fuel bike. So Ian with a Puma bike, the much more, how could I say, unique bike in the far lane for Peter Svensson, and he red lights unbelievably. Peter goes too quick. Ian King will be your event champ and European champ as well.
Hello, Ian. Congratulations. I know, obviously, it probably wasn't the way that Peter got a red light, but tell us. Yeah, well, am I telling you the news now for the first time?
No. I couldn't believe he got away so fast, because when he went, I thought, oh my God, I must be really bad.
No, if I'm right, he has got a red light, so that you take this event.
Yeah, but that's a shame for Peter. I mean, he's been running so well this weekend. I mean, you know, still class of the field at the moment. But yeah, win your home event, win the championship at the same event. It's fantastic.
Peter, I know that's not going to be the way that you wanted to finish off this season. You've done so brilliantly and world records, but red light on the last one.
Yeah, I gave him that one. Didn't feel good now, but I come over it. I gave him that this time.
Well, it did look like he was way out in front there. Ian King didn't even know. He was so concentrated on getting his bike down the lane. But there we go. Ian is your repeat champion in Top Fuel Bike. Peter Svensson ended up second.
We're here at the FIA European Finals at a beautiful SantaPod Raceway today. Championship promoter Keith Bartlett. Season's not all gone this swimmingly though, has it?
This has been one of the highlights of the season, I think, probably both weather-wise and race-wise. You know, we've had like 2 or 3 events really badly affected by weather, rained out. We had one event that was slightly affected in other areas, and no, it's not gone according to plan. So it's actually brilliant to finish the season on a high with great weather, great crowds, and most importantly, some really good racing, and still with several class championships to be decided.
Yeah, it is a very, very exciting day indeed. And if you could just book this weather and everything, it would be great all the time. But the good thing is, it's given all the races in all the championships a chance to shine. They've just proved again that if everything's right, they really step up.
I think you summed it up perfectly. If everything's right, if all the conditions are right, the weather, and remember in drag racing, the air and the weather is really important. I know it is in most motorsports, probably in drag racing it's more important than others. Give all those elements to be there and they will step up. And when you're on the last round of a championship, with championships to be decided, you're almost certain to see some real crazy and some very fast and very professional racing, and that's what we're seeing.
Well, the last classes of the day, Top Methanol, well, last 2 classes, I should say, Top Methanol Dragster and Funny Car. Dragsters first, again, championship to be decided this afternoon. And the man in pole position leading the points, Manti Bugaya from the beautiful island of Malta with the Mr. Whippy car owned by Joe Carabot and the Carabot family. Been doing great things all summer, been to loads of finals, but not quite got a win yet. Oh, dearie me, that was Timo Habermann in the other lane. Timo deadly quick on the tree with a 0.4 light, but spun the tyres and boomed the engine in a rather big way. And I think that just about wraps up the championship for the Mr. Whippy team. A great run for Manti Bugaya, 5.36. Timo, not the way he wanted to end the season though. Look at that. That's tyre spin to start with, then that's engine smoke and a huge bang out the back of the engine. Dennis is still in competition, but Timo is out, unfortunately. Okay, next up, Dave Wilson. Had championship aspirations at the start of the season, won the first 2 events of the year. He won at the main event with the A Fueler. Oh, and unfortunately for him, smokes the tyres against Chris Polidano. Chris goes through with a 5.41.268. Dave cruises through the top end. I really do hope that's not the last time we see Dave Wilson. He was due to retire last year, let alone this year. Came back for one more go. I really hope we can see him out again. The team are a great asset to the series. And Dave, holder of the quickest lap time slip in Europe for a Top Methanol Dragster at 5.26 this year, but unfortunately out in round 1 at his home race. Last pair, Dennis Habermann near lane. Up against Krista Johansson, other guys looking to retire, but by that much, Krista takes the win on a hole shot. Absolutely dead even all the way down. Oh my goodness, that was half a wheel at the finish line. So Krista will be going against Chris Polidano. Battle of the old fuel cars there. Manti Bugaya gets a bye run into the final and a victory lap for his championship. So will this be Chris Johansson's last race? He said he's quitting this season. He's been racing for goodness knows how long. A good 35 years, I think, Chris Johansson. Against the new kid on the block, Chris Polidano. dead even all the way down until right at the stripe. Chris Polidano with a better reaction time as well. Takes it 5.50 to 5.54. Not going to be a fairy tale end, sadly, for Chris Johansson, but again, he's entertained us so much over the years. I really hope he can find something or raid someone's piggy bank to come back again and join us next year. I mean, the reason everyone retires in drag racing is generally money. Dave Wilson is in his 60s, though. That's probably why he's doing it, but there we go. Mansi Bugao with a Mr. Whippy car. Solo run into the final, 5.40, 262. And it would be an all-Maltese final at SantaPod this time round. New champ Mansi against Chris Polidano. So, supercharged car for the Mr. Whippy gang against the A fuel car for Callants Racing. Now, Chris won a race earlier in the season at Tierparina, but that was with half a different team and a different tuner. Can he do it again? The answer is no. It's Mansi. Caps a fantastic season. Watch that again from on the start line. The team celebrating all the way down the run. And to say they're happy is an understatement. Malta is definitely the small island with a big heart. They are going to be national heroes when they get home. Mansi is the European champ. And the team are going to celebrate.
Okay, Manti, you were hugging your car. It's you and your car that deserve all the congratulations. People, yes, saluting you because what a year it's been for you.
Yes, we're very happy that we came, to this stage. We came 4 times in a final. This is our first final, and we've done it. Thanks everybody who's supporting us in Malta. Thank you.
Well, those two guys really set some of the standards throughout the year. So Mansi finishes #1, Chris 2, Dennis Harberman sneaks 3rd over Dave Wilson. Our last class today going to be top methanol funny car. Semi-finals, Ulf Leanders against Rob Turner, Leif Andreasen and Danny Bellio. Now the first race, Rob Turner, that ouch you can see on the side of the car. He doinked the blocks at the main event back in June. And crew repaired it. And instead of repainting it, thought it'd be quite cool to do that instead. But Rob is defending event champion from 1 year ago this weekend at the European Finals, but he's got a real big ask in round 1. He's up against Ulf Leanders. Now, Ulf not going to be champ this year. That's already decided by the looks of it in the favour of Leif Andreasen. But Ulf was in the 5.6s on 3 runs in qualifying, and he's out in front once again. But the engine goes silent, and it's Rob with a 587, 244 miles an hour. I'm pretty sure Ulf Leanders was at least a car length in front when he went past the camera there, but something died in the car. Yep, you can see him move first, out there first. Small puff of smoke out the pipes, and Ulf Leanders' weekend is done. That is a big surprise. He was #1 qualifier. Look at that, he was in front. Yeah, you can see the butterflies close. Something's obviously broken on the car, and Rob Turner again gets to defend his event crown. So the other half of the ladder, Leif Andreasen, you can see all the repair work done to the body. He had a huge tyre explosion through the finish line. Spent an awful long time trying to fix it. They hardly slept all night. His team, the Maltese team, just did so much work to it to get it ready. Danny Bellio, though, with problems. He won the main event back in June and was doing really well in the championship until that point. It will be Leif Andreasen on a solo run to wrap up the championship. What a shame to end the season like that for Danny Bellio, but for Leif, D7, all of the team, Steve Harker, that was what they worked all night for, to get through that round and get into the final. So it's Rob against Leif for all the money in Top Methanol Funny Car. Away absolutely identically, 2 Monte Carlos going at it on the SantaPod quarter mile, and it's Leif Andreasen, 5.68. Rob Turner tailed off a little bit to a 6.0 that time. He was neck and neck with Leif Andreasen almost all the way down that, but just at the finish line, The power of the car in the near lane
Well
told
done.
hugely.
I'll let you get your helmet off. Okay, Leif, congratulations. After this weekend, we've seen the body of your car in pieces, and now you're just coming through as a winner. Congratulations.
Thank you. It feels so good. I mean, the last 24 hours been up and down, and we suddenly got the car down the track, qualify number 2, blow the tire off, and the crew been working, and the Maltese guys helped us out, and the guy was working almost the whole night, and we are so tired, but it doesn't matter. We're going to celebrate.
And celebrate they will. The championship and the event win. All the congratulations go to Leif Andreasen. Danny Bellier had a good season though, finished number 2.
So the winners and their teams are getting photos. It's such a great time to be here at European finals and so much celebration behind us.
Do you know what, that song about Christmas, the most wonderful time of year? I'd like to dispute that. I think this is, to be honest with you. All these guys and girls have worked their backsides off all summer to give us great entertainment, and it all came together in just what has been possibly the most perfect day we've ever seen. I can't say enough about it. They've been absolutely wonderful, and it really is the best way to end the season.
Best way to end the season, and that's it for 2012, but it's brilliant to finish on such a great note. We look forward to seeing you again next year. Until then, goodbye.
From us.